The City of Light is brimming with excitement, anticipation, and bacteria.
The Paris Games got off to a rainy start, and all that stormwater flowing into the Seine River means it is now unsafe to swim in.
We are not going to let them swim if the water is not good quality.
If you Google your name right now, there are a million articles from all over the world. You are a viral sensation. You crossed the finish line, and unfortunately, it all came out. And in fact, I think you've thrown up 10 times after the race. Is that accurate?
Pretty close, yeah.
Jeez.
The data showed risky levels of E. coli bacteria again.
They had 3 days of poor water quality tests.
Do you apologise to all the competitors who've been disrupted?
We are not God.
Today, tests showed the Seine was too polluted. Will it be any safer tomorrow?
Oui, baguette.
Please do not send any hate or honestly comments of any kind to anyone mentioned in this video on behalf of me or yourself. The purpose of this video is to give my commentary and opinion on matters of public concern. Thank you.
But how did we get here? How did this happen? Well, first of all, let's just talk about the river itself. So they call this thing the Seine. The Seine.
I know, Seine.
Call it the Seine River or call it the Cyan, because, I mean, please. Seine.
Le Seine, le Seine, le Seine.
Last Supper on the last scene.
Yeah.
We saw it. Scene, if you know what I mean.
Like a pun.
So this river's huge. It's like 500 miles long, stretching from Burgundy all the way through to the sea in Normandy. And the river really has defined Paris since it was founded by the ancient Romans. The deputy mayor of Paris in charge, Emmanuel Gregoire, I mean, at least at the time that they did this interview, I think it was 2021, he even stated that the Seine is the reason why Paris was born. Okay, so you might have heard, this isn't exactly a swimming river. It's not a river you go swimming in. It's actually dangerous to humans to swim in there. And first of all, it's full of trash. It's filthy, it's disgusting. We're gonna put some, I'm sure we'll put some overlay here of some trash floating around because it's plentiful. There's an example right here, just, you know, as an example. On top of that, there's terrifying animals who frequent this river. We have alligator, crocodile. I mean, I'm from Louisiana, so everything's an alligator to me. Everything's an alligator to me. Really learning about France, I feel like gives me a stronger understanding of my people in South Louisiana because, whoo, the couillons. But it makes sense, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, so there's dangerous animals in there and also just like animals that are probably not dangerous, but why are they in there? And also bunch of seals, alligator, turtles, a royal python, but only the royal kind for some reason, and this particular beluga that they may or may not have literally unalived in their unsuccessful cleanup attempt because they kept it out of the water too long and it got apoxia. May or may not have happened because it didn't have oxygen. Why didn't it have oxygen? Someone removed it from the water. Anyway, on top of that, oh my God, Free Willy. Free Willy from that poo-poo river. We didn't even get to that part yet about the poo-poo, but I'm sure y'all heard about it. So yeah, there was also this Free Willy specimen. So cute. Anyway, on top of the garbage and the animals, it's actually been illegal to swim in this river for like 100 years because it was so full of poop bacteria. Let me tell you what I mean. Yeah, it was seen as dangerous and unfit for human use. Okay, so this really has to do with the way that the city's wastewater is managed. Vox has this good little diagram. Maybe we'll put it here, maybe you'll see it later in the video. But essentially, whenever it rains in Paris, the city's underground wastewater systems, they become overburdened. And instead of it just like busting the pipes wide open, there's a like escape route for the extra untreated sewage. And the escape route is into the river, which is illegal to swim in. And there's belugas, whales, tigers, lions, and bears. Oh my, there was a sea lion or something. Anyway. So literally untreated human waste is being dumped into this river, and in particular whenever it rains a lot. Oh, and if in case you didn't know, human, especially human, but pretty much all fecal waste from the mammals have certain properties, certain propensities. You know, I'm not a scientist and all that, but essentially it makes you sick. It makes you sick to swim in the human poop. It will make you sick. There's E. coli, there's perhaps salmonella, botulism, I mean, all kind of stuff's going on in there. Anyway, yeah, so in and of itself, also, it's just kind of nasty. Like, just generally, like, most humans would be detested by that. So there is this clip right here of this guy, Dan Angelescu, the CEO of Fluidion, one of the companies that the government of Paris was contracting with to test the water every single day, like multiple times a day since April. And months went by and they didn't get one clean test. So this guy, he's also said he would not get in the water. He said he wouldn't get in it, much less put it in his mouth, splash it on his, like he wouldn't even get in it, drink it. So this guy, the one that they had testing the water every day for months, he explains that the bacteria they actually test for isn't even the only concern. It's more like an indicator. So it's like a canary in the coal mine. If you see the E. coli, that means there's probably poop. And if there's poop, there's all kind of other stuff they did not test for, but it's probably in there too.
What is dangerous is that when you have sewage that overflows into the river, you get all the pathogens that are associated with it. So, it's not the bacteria we measure that are necessarily dangerous, but it is all the pathogens that are coming with it. And those could be viruses, other types of bacteria, they could be protozoa, etc. So this is where the danger comes from.
Like the E. coli, in some interpretations of this, is the least of anyone's concerns. It's just like a reliable thing you can test, and there's like standards of how much of it's allowed to be in the water. And you're gonna see the charts. Ice Spice has to be related to this somehow.
The rules are to declare the river safe for swimming. It's only the fecal bacterial limits that have to be tested. So whatever comes from the river boats, whatever comes from the garbage you still see dumped alongside the Seine, no one's counting that.
As he said, they do test for the bacteria, but there are, quote, all kinds of other pathogens that can be dangerous to humans' health that they aren't necessarily testing for. And this man, like I said, he said he would not get in that water. But apparently, like we just alluded to, this is a pretty common problem with rivers in these, especially in these old European cities, because they needed somewhere for the, as the cities grew, naturally the systems for waste management didn't grow. And so they had to accommodate. But you might be surprised to find out, you might be absolutely not surprised in any way to find out, France, this Seine River has like a particularly bad drainage system, and that has to do with like low oxygen levels and high concentrations of ammonia and nitrites, and of course the aforementioned fecal bacteria, Fecalis eschotiteria, or whatever it is. So like I mentioned earlier, this Vox video does a really good job explaining the intricacies of the Parisian sewer system in particular, so I'll let this guy explain it real quick.
You can see where this contamination is coming from by taking a look at this 1852 map, showing how the original Paris sewer system was built. It dumps right into the Seine, which is gross, but it's not a problem that's unique to Paris. Many urban sewer systems work this way. Many cities that built sewer systems in the mid-1800s to early 1900s, like Paris did, installed what's known as a combined sewer system. In a combined sewer system, the same pipes that handle wastewater also handle stormwater, which gets collected through storm drains in the street. Everything gets sent along to be processed at water treatment facilities and then cycles out to the natural environment. When it rains a lot, the sewers can get too full. When this happens, rather than flooding back into the street, the excess combined wastewater and stormwater gets partially redirected to a nearby waterway, which is why E. coli levels in water can spike dramatically in the hours following heavy rain. It's because that water was recently contaminated with So you'll see signs near combined sewer outfalls that prohibit swimming after heavy rain. If that happens during the Olympics, it could mean canceling open water swimming events.
But here's a little diagram right here, and as you can see, it is raining, there's raindrops, and the sewer, is coming down from the residences and going down into the ground lower and lower, but as the water is, coming out from the drain and from the rain, it's pushing it right into the river. Okay, so keep that image in mind, because that's what's going on. So, in TLDR, that whole chapter, if you didn't pay attention to get any of that, this ain't just a river, it's a sewer system, okay? And there's poop floating in it, and everyone agrees. All right, cool. Moving on, next chapter. Okay, so it's nasty, it's dangerous, it's full of trash, it's full of animals that could chomp you. There was a piranha, I think I forgot to mention. The French really were telling you their culture with the Dionysus feast, the more I look into it. I mean, that's probably my cousins. I'm from Louisiana, there's no doubt. I think it's like the images of Jesus. And I think that's why some religions don't let you paint their prophet. Because it's just like, how about nobody paint it? How about, stop fighting. It was a whole thing, and they knew what they were doing the whole time. The whole time. And it could have had been, how do I know Leonardo da Vinci? Strong family resemblance.
True.
How do I know that he wasn't debauched? How do I know he wasn't making fun of Jesus by painting it?
How do you know he wasn't there at the Last Supper himself and it was actually a photograph?
Anyway, okay, so the river's nasty, it's dirty. It's been illegal to swim in it for 100 years. And it's especially dangerous after heavy rain because there will be more poop in the river. Good. So rewinding all the way back, June 23rd, 2017, we got the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, and she's pushing it. She wanted to get the 2024 Olympics in Paris. I have a conspiracy theory why. First of all, it's meaningful. It's the 100 years ago the Olympics was in Paris, 1924. But on top of that, I really think they've been trying to do this push with this river for some reason, because people did used to would swim in it. Like in the golden era of Paris,
Bonjour, I'm Jean-Pierre.
Paris, people would have swim, hundreds, more than 200, because the sewer system was put in place in the 1800s. So I think it was like maybe like, okay, it's kind of like, you know, if you invite somebody to your house for a dinner party, like the hole in a wall might get fixed. I think it was that. Well, if you look at Ephesians, Deuteronomy 24:14, the Lord saith to thee, leave ye out of your camp with ye a spade and diggeth the hole. Amen, Jesus. So yeah, so she reinforces in her bid, she's like constantly reinforcing that the open water events are going to be held in the river.
Almost 100 years after the ban on swimming in the Seine. Yes, my friends, we will once more allow swimming in the Seine.
Which is like, Anybody that's been to Paris, which we'll talk about, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but it is stinky and dirty over there. Just like, I mean, listen, New Orleans really does take after its mama. It gets it from its mama. Anyway, okay, so the Paris Olympics bid is accepted for 2024 and LA is gonna be the 2028. They announced, you know, of course, yes, we still gonna go ahead with this lofty goal of using that river. And then of course the cleanup project apparently begins, which would of course involve lots of bids and eventually spending $1.4 billion, taking people off their sewer and putting them on municipal sewer, but let me not get ahead of myself. So the first issue, like I just mentioned, is this very expensive. It ended up being the US dollar equivalent of about $1.5 billion to do this whole thing, and there's videos and stuff, you know, explaining the project. I might pull a clip in, but essentially what they did was instead of having that extra go off into the river, it was gonna go off into this big bucket, like a real big bucket, and who knows what they were gonna do in the bucket. I don't know, but they standing in it, and you know, I don't know why they would be standing here.
Water analysis reports must be submitted no more than 48 hours prior to competition. Those samples cannot exceed more than 1,000 CFU, colony forming units, of E. coli per 100 milliliters of water, and 400 CFU of Enterococci, another bacteria associated with feces. Test results published just 4 months ahead of the games showed that river samples taken at this bridge, the site of open water swimming events, still failed to get under that crucial 1,000 number for permissible levels of E. coli. So Paris built a giant tank. This 13.2 million gallon capacity underground reservoir and tunnel is part of a $1.5 billion infrastructure project that aims to clean up the Seine. It's called the Austerlitz Basin.
Anyway, so they start doing that. The Parisians, the people living in Paris, they're mad. They're aggravated that they're, you know, being disrupted. The construction is loud. And then eventually leading up to the Olympics, they actually said that the river's so dirty. Y'all are doing such a bad job. These people are upside down and backwards. I don't understand the logic at all, but I admire the dedication. They said they was just gonna go poop just directly into the river.
The citizens have had enough. They are frustrated by the sewage. They want to stop the games from taking place in the Seine. So they've come up with a unique solution: mass defecation in the Seine.
They are threatening to defecate in the river.
I'm not laughing. I'm not.
After all this money had been spent, after all this project had been done, they set it up. They're like, we're going in the river. Oh my God, okay. French people, you know what they say, when people tell you who they are with their weird feast, believe them, but y'all gotta stop forcing people to be something they're not. They're telling us. Maybe if y'all let people be who they are, more people would know this river is full of, okay, well, we're gonna talk about the athlete and what she said touched her leg. My Lord. Okay, so August 2023, there's like a test, right? There's supposed to be a test. They're supposed to swim in the river. Olympic test a year before the Olympics. They couldn't do it, they canceled it. Why? River full of shit. All right, so a few months later, January 2024, in an attempt to kind of downplay the people's concerns, the mayor, remember it was her whole idea to do this whole stupid idea in the first place, she's trying to like basically be like a modern day siren and flip and flap in the river and kind of lure people in. So she's like, oh, I'm gonna go flip flap. I'm gonna go flip flap in the river. And that was supposed to be like a, you know, I mean, it dates back to like probably very olden day where it's like if somebody's coming to eat at your house, you take a bite of the thing you eating first to show it's not poison. It's given that. The French, will they ever learn? But she didn't do that in January, she just announced that. So 2 months after that announcement, notable CSA survivor and French President Emmanuel Macron promised that he too would swim in the river. He was gonna take a little dip. He was gonna flip-flop too. Hope he brings his pool slides.
President Emmanuel Macron gave assurances. So did the Paris mayor. They even promised to take a dip in the Seine, hoping to prove the water's safety. But even a month ahead of the games, authorities are not convinced that the water is clean.
Anyway, so presumably then just to throw salt in the wound, as the French apparently do, who knew, and play in everybody's faces, the next month, April 2024, amid all of this controversy about the poo-poo and the this, that, and the other, and are they gonna make them swim in the river and all that, this trailer comes out. I don't know how much we're gonna be able to play of it because Netflix is particularly stingy about letting you play that. They will block my video from playing. I'll put a screenshot in here, but y'all can go watch it. It's free on the internet, and it's a movie about the 2024 Olympics. It's set in Paris, and they're swimming in the river for the first time in a century, just kind of like exactly like today, except the river in this Netflix movie, it is infested with great white sharks, and they are bloodthirsty. And this is just 3 months before the actual Olympics, and no one has ever even still been swimming in this river in a long time that we know of, right? Like, certainly not legally and safely. So
they're trying to scare the athletes.
It is scary too. It looks very realistic. I think they were trying to terrorize these poor athletes. Yeah, and so the title, Sous la Seine, Sous la Seine, Sous la Seine. It translates into under the Seine River, but I think they just wanted it to sound like sewer, Seine. That's my conspiracy theory. Anyway, that same month, April 2024, this guy, we already talked about him a few times, the water tester man, his company puts out this report. And the water was tested again for pollutants, meaning poo bacterium, which indicates that there's lots of other poo bacterium, right? Like what they're tested for. He tested again in April, and the water did not pass the test, showing dangerously high levels of toxins, bacterians. So next month, the super special poo-poo basin was finally opened. And that was only 3 months before the games were set to start. It seems like they could have probably did this sometime around August. Remember whenever they couldn't do the Olympic test a year in advance? They could have done that. I mean, listen, obviously this is a huge project. It took a long time to do it, but no, you should go to this video too and look at it, because it's like, I'm not gonna say it's propaganda, because it's probably just like a private third-party firm or whatever, but I mean, it's like so huge. It's almost like them showing off their pyramid at Giza, but it's a big bucket to put shit. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? Yes. Like, we used to have world fairs, like where you would, what we're told is that they would build beautiful structures and like things that are like unimaginable and like awe-inspiring. And then they would be like, behold, international public, look at this beautiful thing that we're capable of in wherever, Kansas City or whatever. And now it's like, look, everyone, you can come swim in our sewer and it'll have less in it because look how big our poo-poo bucket is. And it's like, I have to live here with them.
Also like, and watch our new Netflix
about the shark eating all of y'all. And the French person wins first place. I don't know if that's true, but I'll give you $1 if it's not.
Let's say this, the French won, at least for the women in the triathlon. They did, they got...
Anyway, so they open up their poo-poo bucket. Unfortunately, it really did not seem to help. And in fact, I don't know, I'm not a graph reading expert, but just looking at it here, it kind of looks like after it opened in May, it got worse. Because the blue indicates, oh, that's the rainfall, girl. Okay, hold on. No, it didn't. It does seem to have gotten slightly less on average. The trend is down, so I stand corrected. So hopefully that works out for them. And who knows, maybe everybody did go and poo-poo in the river. They said they were going to, and I wouldn't put it past them. They nasty over there.
We are about to witness a mass defecation event.
But as you will note, the red indicates the E. coli, 100, like whatever it is per, like 100. From what I understand, you can have 1,000 per whatever the ml is, and anything, once it's 1,000, you can't swim in it for a competition. And this looking like it's 25, 20,000. I don't know how to read a map.
I can see the blue lines, the big spikes represent big rainfalls.
Exactly. So these light blue lines, these are the rain events. You have some really big spikes, you can reach concentrations of 20, 25,000 E. coli per 100 ml after a big rain event. And this is typical. This is typical of this time of the year when you have a lot of rain, etc. So the hope is that, going forward, we're going to have more of this dry type of weather where concentrations start to drop down, and that the river will clean up before the Olympics start. But it looks to me like there's like, I don't know, 25 times the amount of E. coli. Somebody tell me if I'm reading this wrong. Or 2.5?
No, yeah, it looks like at the highest peak, it was like 22,000
And this is from that same man that said he wouldn't get in the water. Yeah. So June 13th, this year would roll around, and neither the mayor nor the president had braved getting into the water of the sewer of the river, despite promising that they were going to do that. A week later rolls around. By June 20th, there still had not been one single test. They were testing multiple times a day. There hadn't been one test on any time on any day where this one patch of water where they were gonna have all the best swimmers in the world swimming. Now, I do wanna point this out too. This is not the first time this has happened. This has happened before in Tokyo. This happened before, I think, in Rio, where it was like there was too much poo in the water. But then they got it sorted out. And Paris seems to have been struggling the most. So June 20th, that's whenever the American athletes start being like, look, dude, there hasn't been a single test where this hasn't been toilet water, okay? So they're going on the news. We have this guy right here, and he's sounding the alarm. Now, not to fear, because as you will hear in the clip, apparently, according to the Olympic officials, they told the athletes, according to this guy, the Olympic officials told him and the other athletes that the sunlight was going to kill that bacteria. I don't know why they needed that 1.5 billion then.
At the end of the day, it's the Olympics, and the safety of the athletes has to come first. Definitely a big point of anxiety for me, especially since this is my first games.
Paris has spent more than $1 billion in recent years cleaning up the river, of course, ahead of the Olympic Games. But according to the company testing the water daily since April, not a single test has shown water quality suitable for bathing. Ivan Puskovich says that athletes were told that sunlight would kill the bacteria, while heavy rains could delay their events because of the sewage runoff. That's all part of this. Olympic officials tell ABC there's simply no plan B.
The Seine is iconic, and it would be amazing to say that I was one of the first people to swim in it after such a long time. But I would rather compete at the Olympics and have it be in a place that isn't the Seine than not be able to compete at all because the Seine was the only option.
Anyway, so the events scheduled to take place in there, the open water events, the triathlon, and something else. And even if everything went according to plan, everything worked out exactly perfectly, it still could be too dangerous to swim in the river if it rained a lot. And guess what? It rained a lot. So the morning of the men's triathlon, July 30th, 2024, 3:30 in the morning, they test the water. Just like every test before it, the water failed, okay? Was not gonna be able to swim in it. And there's also rules in place, like the water has to test clean for 48 hours or something before. And I think they were gonna skirt around those rules even. But it was like, no, it's 3:30 in the morning. It's like, you can't have the people in it. So yeah, and they're saying it's dangerous for human life. That morning, somebody was out there from the Sky News, and there is a poop float in the water. You know what else probably didn't help the river too much was the debauchery they just had. They had the big feast right over that river. Who knows what fell off that platform that night? Certainly a lot of people's dignity, girl. Anyway, so SkyNews.com is out there doing work. According to them, these officials, they're doing these interviews, and they're stating that even though they had been working on this project for years without successfully getting a single clearance test, they did not get the issue under control, and the water had still tested at dangerously high E. coli levels literally that very morning, that they would be, quote, taking care of that, and they ensured that the athletes would be safe.
The data showed risky levels of E. coli bacteria. Again, and it's no surprise the Seine is dirty. The men's triathlon postponed hours before it was due to start here. The sports boss blaming days of downpours.
It's unhealthy for the people who swim in the river.
If I was an athlete and it said it was dangerous today, it would be hard to have confidence it would be safe suddenly 24 hours later.
But we are taking care of that. We are not going to let them swim if the water is not good quality.
I'm not really sure how that was supposed to happen, but it seems like that lady had it under control. So this guy, he explains that the real actual dangers of getting in this water.
You would probably notice it within 12, 24 hours with a poor stomach, and then depending on how toxic the water is at the time, that might last for a day or it might last for a few days, but it would certainly affect the health of some, if not all, of the swimmers. Even that very morning, according to this news reporting, the organizers were considering just doing away with the third leg, the swimming part of the triathlon, just doing away with that and just having them do the other things because there's no plan B. Now there is dispute, there is some back and forth. Was there a plan B? Was there not? But they sure did have them athletes swimming in that water, which we will talk about very soon. So at the time of recording this, I think it might have been yesterday or perhaps the day before, what is time, when they actually finally did have them do this race. And I'll put some clips in here of different people and creators and different people talking about the experiences they had in the river. But essentially, the one woman was too shocked to speak. She was too shocked to speak.
she said, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. We shouldn't recall. But it does seem like maybe the whole budget got blown on just the poo-poo bucket, because if you look over at the, what's it called? The Olympic Lodge. What's it called? Grove, Olympic Grove, Olympian Grove Village. I thought it was a lot. It always is. Okay, anyway, so the athletes are pissed. They're aggravated. We have a gold medalist over here saying they're not feeding them.
What do you eat at the Olympic Village? And do you like French food?
Like in the village, it's not proper French cuisine like you guys might be eating because you guys are outside the village. So for the athletes, it's a little bit more healthier.
I don't think it's very good, at least what we're having in the dining hall. I definitely think French food is good, but what we're having in there I don't think is the best, but
it's hot.
The Paris Games got off to a rainy start, and all that stormwater flowing into the Seine River means it is now unsafe to swim in. The men's triathlon scheduled for this morning had to be postponed, but the clouds have lifted and much of France is now under a heat warning.
It was one of those steamy summer days when even the breeze felt hot.
And then they were announcing it earlier, like months, like maybe a month ago or something, a month and a half ago. They were announcing like how they were gonna, they're so stupid, they think we're stupid too. They were saying, in order to reduce the carbon footprint of the Olympics.
To reduce the carbon footprint of the Games.
Paris 2024 officials aspire to host the greenest games in history, but
our responsibility, our short-term responsibility, to give to high-performance athletes the best condition in order to perform. And that's the reason why we've offered them the opportunity to rent temporary AC.
They're just not going to have air conditioners. What did they say?
Temperatures are expected to soar again in Europe this summer, but there will be no air conditioning in the athletes' rooms at the Paris 2024 Olympics. Organisers have pledged to host the greenest games ever, and in that spirit, buildings in the athletes' village were designed to avoid the need for aircon.
Yeah, she touched things she wanted to see. Yeah, he said, this was today, literally today, the time they're recording this video. Thomas Caccione, he went all the way off, on the lack of nutritious food options for the world's most athletic athletes. Yes, he did. And he said, we don't eat well and there are problems with the food. In the village, there's no air conditioning, it is hot, and the food is bad. He said many athletes move because of this.
The conditions in the Paris Olympic Village are so bad that gold medalist Italian swimmer Thomas Chicon was spotted sleeping on the ground in a park.
It's not an alibi. It is the pure chronicle of what perhaps not everyone knows. Excuse, I think they were asking him because he is a good swimmer and he had won a gold medal, but he didn't qualify for another one he was in. And he was blaming the conditions of the Olympic Village for him not performing to his
Well,
best.
I saw something today that some Brazilian girl got kicked out of the Olympics because she left the village.
Conservatorship or jail prison town.
Brazilian Olympic swimmer Ana Carolina Vieira is causing a splash in Paris. The 22-year-old is being dismissed from the Summer Games after being reprimanded for leaving the Olympic Village with her teammate and boyfriend on Friday, July 26th without clearing it with the team. The Brazilian Olympic Committee says in a statement that the head of the swim team discovered the infraction after Ana posted photos on social media. The statement says in part that Ana and Gabriel, quote, committed acts of indiscipline.
Yeah, so he said you have a hard time sleeping in the Olympic Village because it's so hot and loud. So even though Thomas did win a gold medal in the one category, he really didn't still perform up to his own expectations, and he contributes the fatigue and malnutrition he suffered and endured at the Firefest-esque village. Beep. Was there anything? Oh, and that wasn't the only thing. That wasn't it. That's not all, folks. These athletes, like Thomas and the lady who would rather not remember what touched her leg under the bridge, they're not the only people to be disgusted and outraged with the lack of hygiene and the lack of cleanliness in this city. Y'all, I don't know if it's hard to keep up. They invent a new thing every day. They have demon face syndrome. I certainly have it. Sign me up. I ain't taking your medicines for it. But now they got a new thing, and it's called Paris Disillusionment Syndrome Sickness. I don't know if that's what it's really called, but
We're calling it Paris.
and it's where these especially Japanese tourists, it's especially disproportionate. That's the word I'm looking for. Apparently it's disproportionately affecting the Japanese tourists, and they come in, to Paris, city of light, city of love, and all of that, and they come there, and it's so dirty, it's so disgusting, it's so detestable, and it's so depraved. They fall into illness. It's a new one. They just made that up recently in the last decades, I suppose. But yes, they getting sick, especially the poor Japanese. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that Japanese government set up a support because they care for their people or something. I don't know why it is that they're focusing so much on them. I think it might be the demon of Dionysus that's got his crack sitting right up on top of that Eiffel Tower. I don't think that it might have much to do. But you know what? It is detestable and depraved. I mean, just seriously, like, there's poo-poo floating up out the river. I'm sure particles are getting into the air. I'm sure, just based on like the principles of aero and thermodynamics and hydrodynamics and all of that. Sure, there's some evaporation, and with it comes some fecality of sorts. So who knows? Maybe they breathing that in. But we'll put in some clips about the Paris syndrome.
Paris syndrome is a psychological condition experienced that, up until recently, almost exclusively by Japanese tourists. French psychiatric journal cites the disappointment many visitors feel being caused by a romanticized expectation of Paris as a city of love, fashion, and glamorous people, being hopelessly dashed by the grubby, rude, and increasingly dangerous reality of the city that has become something of an open toilet.
And for those reasons, I vote maybe not having them there for another 100 years. Go USA!
If you Google your name right now, there are a million articles from all over the world. You are a viral sensation. You crossed the finish line, and unfortunately, it all came out. And in fact, I think you've thrown up 10 times after the race. Is that accurate?
Pretty close, yeah.
Jeez Louise. So what happened? Is that a common thing for you after a race?
Not super common, but it happens sometimes. I just happen to swallow a bunch of water in the race.
In the city of lights, 2024 make it bright. Olympics on the same, but the river ain't right. We collide soup, swimming in poo-poo stew. Toilet water dreams, man, what we gon' do? Paris shine, golden in the race, but the river grime all up in your face. Richard become wild, courting underage grace. Dirty river vibes can't keep up with the pace. Athletes flying high, got their medals in sight. Touch a stinky wave, ain't a pretty sight. Bridget on the scene, dancing on the green. Talk of the town, she a gossip queen. Paris shine, golden in the race, but the river grime all up in your face. Richard become wild, courting underage grace. Dirty river vibes can't keep up with the pace. Set the script, make a splash, don't choke. Diving in the same real life joke. Running high, water dirty as a lie. Olympic dreams sinking, who gonna cry? Eiffel Tower tall, casting shadows so wide. River flowing dirty, secrets can't hide. Tourists at the pick, French charm so slick. Olympics won the big, but they had to trick.
Spanish.
No, sir. It got a lot of oui.
Chinese.
Oui.
You
said oui.
Oui is French.
Why did you say bonjour?
No, it's an egg. False alarm.
This is what they're. Oh.
No. I really poop when you feed me? Why don't you want your kids playing with something like that? It's a pink pile of poop. Seek medical attention. Let's see.
This thing looks like it's about to take her.
That's the category. Demented. That's where Stevie.
Oh, these are kind of cute.
I'll put Stevie the internet.
Oh. Is that poo?
Muffy stuffies. Or at least they put a cupcake on the bottom. There does not be no poop on the princess aisle. I'm feeling suspicious about this aisle. Oh, a toilet. Good. Good.
That's pretty acceptable, though, I feel
Acceptable
like.
man? Acceptable
Because,
learning?
yeah. Because it's a baby. That's what all they do.
This is the Disney ones? Oh, yeah, it's Minnie Mouse brand. What are they doing? They just going grocery shopping and eating? Oh, here's more of them.
They're just going grocery shopping and eat. Okay, that's weird.
Does that
Is that a
come out
toy
into the
or
diaper?
is this for just food? I think.
No, this is the baby alive.
Oh no.
Fruity Sips.
We don't need all that. Yeah, actually.
Oh my God, and then this green shit from this pack comes out in that diaper. No child of mine. Just for the mess factor. You could have a desk. That's fine. That's acceptable. Totally. Let's go to the boys' toys.
Oh no.
Hashtag. No, this is toddler. This is baby gonna poop until
Age 4, 5.
older. Yeah, 5 maybe. What's this stuff?
So not really much, honestly.
Oh, we got the Blippy. We got the Blippy Black and Decker collab.
Oh my god.
Not really.
Oh, I thought it was.
Speaking of Blippy, here is some Cocoa Melon, which is Moonbug, which is what's the name of that company they both own at the top?
Shit, I can't remember.
Moonbug?
Because they were only talking about
I
Moonbug.
actually don't mind these toys. This is kind of cool, actually. Kids.
I love that. And once you told me it wasn't Blippy, then I was like, okay, that's good.
It's not. This aisle is fine. I don't have any issues with it.
I feel like they're doing. Oh, this, I can feel it.
No.
I feel the dark energy over here.
My first Stanley Cup.
Oh my god.
I heard this could survive a fire and still have ice in it. Hear that ice?
I heard they got lead in them.
I heard they had lead in them too. I heard that. Oh, look, this one got a trailer. I like that. That's cool. They're going camping. We used to have little people.
I had little people. This is fine.
I don't mind any of this stuff. Except that boating, they're going to tell them it might fall out of the sky.
This is
The door
where it
might
gets
come off.
deranged. Where is that book?
Sorry, maybe they took it off
Excuse
the
me,
shelf.
thank you.
Okay, all roads leads to clowns. Oh, no one likes a fart.
Oh, here.
Oh my God, what is
Where's
over
that?
this?
Oh, this is it.
Section. No.
Wow.
No. What in the hell? Alphabet book? No child of mine. Benny Blanco must have ghost.
We're gonna have to blur this out.
Oh, this
That is sick. I'm gonna blur it out, but
No, this is disgusting. Oh my God, I'm about to throw up. This is. I wrote this.
and they thought they could.
Why are they doing this?
Mm-mm.
Why? Who gets something out of this?
Not me, no child of mine. Like, what is? I need a new butt.
No, why are they making kids?
Egg butt.
What is this?
Egg. Some
I
Podesta
rebuke.
painting.
I rebuke. What about this?
Oh, that is gross. This is so.
No, we're not doing this. I'm sorry. Well, no. I
Mm-mm.
would just as soon read the Bible in my house before everyone poops, please. An elephant makes a big poop. A mouse makes a tiny poop. Yeah, your children's brains is rotting in the skull. A one hump camel. Oh my God! Stop. A one hump. And then it's false information. A one hump camel makes a one hump poop, and a two hump camel makes a two hump poop. Just kidding. Depraved. This one's gonna be the worst. I feel it. I know it. Oh look, the fart. That's Ice Spice Ghost wrote this one. No one likes it. This is nasty. Why is it that color? And it's not even kids.
Oh
my gosh. The main character of the book's name is Fart. With a capital F.
I don't even want to get into those other two.
No, we're not doing it.
Oh, you don't? Because I do.
Oh my God. Ew. It's a splash poop, so you can get it soaking wet and throw it at your friend in the pool with no clothes on. Good idea. Great.
Good idea.
And on the railroad.
You know what they use these for? Deuteronomy 23:12.
Oh.
This is a little questionable. Okay, this is already too much.
I hate that thing. I hate that thing is a
And that,
psychological operation.
so is this. Okay, ready? Look, I found this. I just found this.
I guess
It's targeted to the children.
I don't like it.
Come on, what is this? Shoots real fart rings. Includes fart smell and banana scent.
I hate it. And the other one makes fart noise. I don't like the unicorn blaster.
Where is it? Oh, yeah.
Straight from the pits of hell.